Are your highly efficient, totally automated hiring processes actually costing you your top-tier sales candidates?
Oh man, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, you've built what looks like, this flawless recruitment funnel. The
Right.
data in your HR dashboard looks great.
Right. All the metrics are green.
Exactly. You've benchmarked the salaries, your employer branding is like plastered everywhere, and you've invested heavily in all this tech to streamline the whole thing.
But then the reality hits.
Yeah, the absolute best talent, right, the real rainmakers you desperately want to hire, they just keep ghosting you right before the final round.
And that just leaves hiring managers completely scratching their heads.
Yeah.
I mean, they look at the metrics, and on paper, the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Processing a massive volume of applicants.
Right? The automated screening is moving people along, but then the quality of the talent pool at the very bottom of the funnel is just mysteriously lacking.
It's a huge problem. So today we're doing a deep dive into some really hard-hitting research from Wyn Nathan Davis, which was provided by the sales experts, to figure out exactly where you're bleeding this talent.
It's such an important read.
It really is. And, if you are a sales leader, a hiring manager, or an executive trying to build a high-performing team, this deep dive is literally for you.
Absolutely.
Our mission today is to unpack why exceptional talent abandons these overly complex recruitment funnels and, more importantly, how you can fix it, to guarantee your organization's long-term sales success.
Because the core premise of this article is just fascinating. It basically says when hiring processes stop feeling human, good candidates just walk away.
It sounds so simple on the surface, doesn't it?
It does, but I mean, the implications for how companies structure their talent acquisition are massive. We really have to start by just completely flipping the traditional perspective on hiring.
Right, because most organizations still operate under this, legacy mindset where recruitment is just a one-way street.
Exactly. They treat the whole process as if its sole purpose is just for the company to assess the candidate's worthiness.
Which, obviously, you have to do to some extent. I mean, you need to understand their skills, their track record.
Right, you need to know if they can actually manage a complex sales cycle.
Yeah. But you're saying, or the article's saying, that's really only half the equation.
It's barely half, honestly. Recruitment is a two-way evaluation. So while you are stress testing their resume, you have to remember they are actively stress testing your company.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Every single interaction, or even the lack of interaction, it's providing them with a window into how your business actually operates day to day.
So they're reading into everything.
Everything. They are forming opinions about your leadership style, evaluating your culture, and assessing your communication standards based entirely on how you treat them in the pipeline.
Okay, let's unpack that because I think a lot of leaders just completely miss this entirely.
They really do.
Let's look at this through the lens of a commercial professional. If we're talking about hiring top-tier talent in sales or marketing, their entire careers are built on relationship building.
Exactly. Their success depends on human connection.
Right. Their ability to influence stakeholders, read a room, build rapport, and follow up on a hot lead. And actually, just a quick note for anyone reading the transcript later, that's lead, spelled L-E-A-D, pronounced lead.
Got to get the jargon right.
Yeah, exactly. So they're trying to follow up on this lead and turn that initial interest into a closed deal. So if you drop them into a hiring process that lacks any meaningful human interaction, you're essentially tying their hands behind their back.
You're removing their core competency from the evaluation.
Yeah. It's like trying to close a massive B2B deal exclusively through an automated email sequence without ever picking up the phone. How do you gauge if there's a real partnership there?
Oh, we really can't. And what's fascinating here is if we look at the psychology of a high-performing candidate in that exact moment, it reveals exactly why they drop out.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So a recruitment process is the most visible, tangible preview of an organization's internal operations that a candidate has access to.
Right. It's the trailer for the movie.
Exactly. So if the communication during the hiring phase is opaque or rigid or just entirely outsourced to software, the candidate instinctively assumes that working for you will be exactly the same.
Wow. Yeah, they assume the internal culture is equally rigid and impersonal.
They do. They think, if this is how they treat me when they're actively trying to woo me, how are they going to treat me when I'm just an employee carrying a quota?
Oh, that is such a brutal thought process, but it's so true.
A business that values people's time and prioritizes genuine conversations in their hiring Well, they usually create stronger workplace relationships internally.
And top-tier candidates know this.
They are hyper aware of these signals. So when they encounter a highly mechanized system, they just draw negative conclusions and walk away.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here for a second, though.
Go for it.
Let's talk about the reality of modern HR technology because, I mean, automation didn't just appear out of nowhere, right?
Of course not.
If I'm an executive and I'm staring down a pipeline of like 500 applicants for a single enterprise account executive role, I literally do not have the calendar space to hold a deeply human two-way evaluation for everyone.
Right, that's just physically impossible.
Exactly. Automation isn't just some fun HR trend we're playing with. It feels like a structural necessity just to manage the sheer volume.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile this human-centric ideal with the reality of, we need to process 500 resumes by Friday?
That's a really fair challenge. And to be clear, the source material doesn't suggest we throw out all our software and go back to faxing resumes.
Okay, good, because nobody wants that.
Right. Technology like AI screening tools, automated scheduling platforms, and digital portals, they offer incredible advantages for managing volume at the very top of the funnel.
So the top of the funnel is fine for tech.
Yeah. The danger zone, where companies start actively repelling top talent that emerges when efficiency begins replacing human interaction rather than supporting it in the middle and bottom of the funnel.
Okay, meaning it's totally fine to use an algorithm to filter out the 400 people who don't meet the basic criteria,
Right.
but it's toxic to use that same algorithm to conduct the actual evaluation of your top 50 candidates.
Exactly. And we are seeing this growing trend across multiple industries where candidates find themselves completing like 4 or 5 stages of assessment before they ever have a live, unscripted conversation with a hiring manager.
5 stages? That's wild.
It is. They are recording one-way video responses to prompts on a screen. They're doing psychometric testing.
Oh, the personality test?
Yeah. And they're typing out answers to competency-based questions. And the worst part is they're doing all of this in a total vacuum.
Which leaves them with massive unanswered questions.
Yeah.
I mean, the article lists a few things these high performers desperately want to know, but they just can't find out from a HireVue portal or a personality test.
No, they can't.
They want to know, like, what is the leadership team actually like? How are critical decisions made when things go wrong?
Yes.
What real-world challenges is the business currently facing? You literally cannot get those answers from a multiple-choice assessment.
You can only get those answers through dynamic conversation. So when you replace that conversation with a screen, you create a massive point of friction.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this brings us to the hidden cost of overly complex hiring processes. Because, nobody intentionally designs a dehumanizing candidate experience.
No, they don't wake up and say, let's torture our applicants today.
Right. It usually happens through mission creep.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at why that mission creep actually happens. So say a VP of sales gets burned by a bad hire who interviewed incredibly well but couldn't actually prospect to save their life.
A classic scenario.
Right. So for the next round of hiring, that VP mandates a mandatory behavioral assessment to catch that specific flaw. Then the CMO decides they want more visibility into who is joining the broader commercial team, so we add a panel interview.
And suddenly you've built this massive multi-stage obstacle course.
Exactly. And the overarching goal, the intention, is always just to reduce the risk of making another bad hire.
But that creates the great paradox of modern hiring.
Oh, this is the paradox, right?
Yeah. Executives keep adding more assessment stages, more automated screenings, and more interview rounds specifically to reduce the risk of a bad hire.
Okay.
But by dragging the process out and removing the human element, they actually increase the risk of losing their absolute best candidates to their competitors.
Oh, wow. Because the absolute best candidates, the people who can genuinely drive revenue and secure the biggest accounts,
Yeah.
they are never desperate for a job.
No, they're usually happily employed, they're successful where they are, and they're very likely involved in multiple recruitment processes simultaneously.
So they have options.
Tons of options. So when they encounter friction, like a company asking them to complete a 2-hour psychometric test before they've even had a 10-minute phone call with the hiring manager, they just evaluate the opportunity cost.
Right.
If company A creates a clear, engaging, human-centered experience, and company B relies on endless AI assessments and delayed human interaction, the outcome isn't a mystery.
No, it's pretty obvious.
The business with the more respectful candidate experience is going to win that talent every single time.
So it sounds like the core mindset shift here is that technology should be utilized as a tool to get you to the human conversation faster, not as like a digital wall for your hiring managers to hide behind.
That is the perfect way to phrase it.
Use the automation to clear the administrative clutter, schedule the meetings, filter the baseline requirements so your leaders can spend their valuable time actually talking to the most promising talent.
That's the balance. If your hiring managers are spending less time talking to candidates than your candidates are spending interacting with your software, your process is totally broken.
Okay, so let's move from the diagnosis to the execution part of this deep dive. Let's say I'm an executive listening to this right now. I'm sold on the concept, and I want to overhaul my pipeline today.
Let's do it.
The article outlines how to design what it calls a value-driven hiring process. And the first thing that really stands out to me is this idea of mutual value.
Yes.
The best processes aren't defined by being the shortest or the longest.
That's a crucial distinction. A great process isn't inherently a two-stage process, and it certainly isn't an eight-stage process.
Okay.
The defining characteristic is that every single stage must create mutual value. So the first actionable takeaway here is to ensure mutual learning.
Okay, mutual learning. But what does that actually look like in practice? Because, it can't just mean leaving 5 minutes at the end of the interview and asking, so do you have any questions for us?
No, that's just performative.
Right.
Real mutual learning means that a candidate never logs off a Zoom call or walks out of an office feeling like they were just interrogated. They should leave every stage feeling like they gained genuine insight into your business. So, for example, instead of asking generic behavioral questions like, tell me about a time you overcame a challenge.
Oh, I hate that question.
Right. Everyone does. Instead, present them with a real problem your sales team is currently trying to solve.
Oh, I like that.
Make it a collaborative working session. Ask them how they would approach it, and then, this is key, actually share how your team is currently handling it.
See, that immediately changes the whole dynamic. You're shifting it from a test to a collaboration.
Exactly.
They get to see how you think, how you problem solve, and what the actual day-to-day work looks like.
And you get to see how they process real information on the fly, not just how well they rehearse their answers in the mirror that morning.
Yeah.
It's an exchange of value.
Yeah.
They learn the realities of the role, and you learn how they operate in the real world.
That leads perfectly into the second major takeaway, which is balancing assessments with access. Because the source material makes it clear that we aren't saying you shouldn't test your candidates. I mean, a VP of sales obviously needs to see how a candidate handles a pitch.
Of course. It's completely reasonable to include role plays, formal presentations, or practical exercises in your pipeline.
But how do you structure those without alienating the candidate?
By ensuring those hurdles are balanced with meaningful access to decision makers.
Okay, give me an example of that.
So, if you are going to ask a top-tier candidate to spend, say, 4 hours of their weekend preparing a mock sales presentation,
Which is a big ask.
huge ask, you owe them the respect of presenting it to the people they will actually be reporting to, not just like an HR screener.
Oh, absolutely.
And more importantly, give them access beforehand.
What do you mean?
Allow them to have a 15-minute discovery call with a stakeholder to ask questions and gather context before they build their presentation.
I love that, because if they were pitching a real client, they would do a discovery call first. Why would we force them to build a pitch in a total vacuum for an interview that just tests their ability to guess what you want to hear?
Exactly, it's just guessing.
But if you give them access, you're testing their actual sales acumen, how they gather intelligence, how they ask questions, and how they use that information to tailor a solution.
And it creates a sense of partnership. It allows them to start building relationships with their potential future colleagues while they are still in the evaluation phase.
Which brings us to the third takeaway: sector-specific transparency. Because the professionals we are talking about, these top performers across tech, AI, manufacturing, telecom, business services, they aren't just looking for a generic job.
No, not at all. They are evaluating where their specific skills can create the greatest possible impact.
Right.
And this is where companies so often shoot themselves in the foot. They try to paint this perfect, rosy picture of the organization.
Yeah, the PR spin.
Right. They use all this automated PR speak about, fast-paced environments and unlimited growth potential.
But strong candidates crave the messy truth, don't they?
They do. They want to know exactly what success looks like in the first 30, 60, and 90 days. They want to understand the actual obstacles they are going to face.
Right. Like if you're hiring a sales leader for a manufacturing firm and your supply chain is currently an absolute nightmare, don't hide that.
No. Top performers want to solve complex problems.
Yeah, if you tell them, look, our supply chain is struggling and you're going to have to manage some very angry clients while we fix it over the next 6 months, that transparency actually attracts the kind of resilient problem solvers you really want.
It does.
But if they find out about the supply chain issues on day one, after you promise them smooth sailing, they're just going to quit.
Transparency builds immediate trust. If you try to hide the challenges behind corporate jargon, the best candidates will see right through it, and they'll assume you're hiding something much worse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They want to know if your organization is genuinely a place where they can succeed, and they just can't determine that without the facts.
And there is hard data proving that this human-centric approach actually works. The source material notes that the sales experts maintain an astonishing 98% recruitment success rate.
Which is incredible.
Think about that in the context of typical sales turnover. 98%. And they achieve that by helping their clients build powerful sales teams using these exact principles.
They really practice what they preach.
They don't let their clients hide behind endless automated screenings. They prioritize the human connection and ensure mutual value at every single stage.
Because they understand a fundamental truth about talent acquisition. No matter how sophisticated hiring technology becomes, people ultimately join companies because of people.
Period.
They joined because they felt a spark of connection with a leader during an interview.
Yeah.
They joined because they respected the direct communication style of the team.
Yeah.
They joined because the hiring process made them feel valued and respected as a professional.
So let's synthesize this for the executive listening right now. You've got a pipeline full of applicants. You've got aggressive revenue targets to hit this quarter, and you know your current process is just way too mechanical.
Right.
What is the fundamental shift they need to make before they schedule their very next interview?
The ultimate distillation of everything we've discussed today is this. Recruitment is not something you do to candidates. It is something you do with them.
Gone with them.
Yes. It has to be a partnership from the very first touch point. If you view recruitment simply as an administrative process of, filtering data and running people through a gauntlet, you will only end up with the candidates who are desperate enough to tolerate being treated like data points.
And the people with options will simply opt out.
Exactly. The high performers, the rainmakers, the people who will truly transform your business, they require a conversation. They require transparency. They require a process that feels human.
Recruitment is not something done to candidates. It is something done with them. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this deep dive, take that. Put it on a Post-it note on your monitor.
I love that idea.
So for everyone listening, this is your call to action. Take a hard, honest look at your current hiring funnel today. Have you built a machine that is incredibly efficient, but just entirely devoid of humanity?
Are you using technology to replace your hiring managers rather than empower them?
Right. And if so, you are actively bleeding your best talent to your competitors.
The cost of inaction is simply too high in this market. Every day you run a dehumanizing process is another day a top-tier candidate walks away.
So true. Now, if you want to dive deeper into these strategies, if you want to learn how to truly build powerful sales teams and secure that elite talent, you need to visit thesalesexperts.com.
It's an amazing resource.
The insights we pulled from Wyn Nathan Davis today are just the beginning of what they offer. They have an absolute wealth of resources available for leaders who are serious about sales success.
A really great starting point is subscribing to the Predictable Sales Growth newsletter on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
They already have over 2,000 subscribers getting regular, actionable insights on sales recruitment, leadership, and driving revenue growth.
And if you're looking to actively develop your internal talent and build that high-performance culture, they offer some really comprehensive training programs.
Definitely check out the Rainmaker Sales Mastery Program 2.0.
Yes. Or the Rainmaker Cold Call Magic program.
Or the resources available through the London Sales Academy.
It's all about building a holistic ecosystem of high performance, and that starts from the very first recruitment touchpoint. You can find all of that at thesalesexperts.com.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
We've established that your recruitment process is a direct mirror, a tangible preview of what it's actually like to work for your organization. So I want you to look at your current hiring portal today and ask yourself, what exactly is your automated system broadcasting to the market about how much you truly value your people?
Oof, a really tough question, but a necessary one. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.